Hello everybody and welcome to Sew Saturdays. As promised, we're going to do another Halloween themed tutorial. Today's sewing tutorial is going to be really easy and it's going to be super cute. Now what I have here is some tulle that I bought a couple of summers ago because I thought it was so cute and it was on sale. I got it from Joann's, and I think this is actually a yard and a half because I did use a little bit of it for something else. So this is about a yard and a half, and what I did for this is I folded this the long way, and I want as much of this fabric as possible because I'm going to gather it together. So as you can see, and it's really long, this is going to be part of a princess dress that I'm going to make. So I have some stretch lycra here, and sorry for all the sunlight, it's just like shining really bright in here today, but I'm going to use this for the top piece, and I'm using this because it has the stretch to it. And for the Halloween costume, you don't want to use something that's going to have a lot of buttons or zippers or anything like that. So this is going to be like it's almost like a tube dress, and we're going to add some straps to it. It's going to be really cute. So we're going to decorate this part, and I thought I had a lighter pink, but this will work perfectly with this together once I'm done with it. So like I said, I'm using about a yard and a half of tulle. I'm folding it the long way. We're going to gather it. Actually, I did not cut this. As you can see, I just folded it over. This will make it easier for me because if you worked with tulle before, you know that sometimes when you try to sew it together and trying to pin it, it's just, you know, a hassle. So I'm just going to leave this folded. I'm not going to cut it, but I am going to gather this into the sewing machine. Now, if you don't know how to gather, I will show you how to do that on your sewing machine. I don't get into buying a ton of different feet, but I do have some feet that I use that come in handy for me. But I don't have a gathering foot. I just simply use my sewing machine to gather, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so this is how I gather. I turned my tension here to 8. For the tulle, I'm using 8. If you watch my ruffle chiffon video, you would see that I probably did like a 7 or 7.5, something like that. But for the tulle, I like to use 8 or 9. For the length, I use 4.5. And for the width, I set it at 1. So you want your tightest tension probably that you can find on your sewing machine, and then you want your length and your width to be up just a little bit. So again, I'm using 8 for my tension, I'm using 4.5 for my length, and 1 for my width. So let's get started with gathering our tulle. We're just going to put this through on a straight stitch, and then we're just going to let it go. So I'm going to do mine, you do yours, and we'll see how it goes. But okay, so I have gathered this together, and I know you may be thinking, oh my goodness, it's still so very long, and it is. But what you don't know is what I'm also going to do is I'm going to double gather this to the bodice, so it's going to be really flowy, but whatever. Okay, so I have our little tube here, and I know you may be thinking, oh, it looks kind of long, but since she won't come here, I cut this at 11, which means it's 22 around. So this is basically just a rectangle, and I cut mine 10 inches down because I measured from here to like the very bottom of her belly button. You're going to, sorry, I'm saying a lot. You're going to be attaching your tulle to the bottom part. So I'm going to be adding a lot of extras to her costume, but I like the top to be just a little bit longer because when I work with any kind of stretchy fabric like this, I like to give myself a little bit more of a seam here. So I'm going to have a little bit more, and the thing that I love about this stretchy cotton lycra, and I'll leave the link to where I purchased this at. I got it from Fabric World USA. You may have heard me mention them before in other tutorials, but they're a New York based company, and they sell a lot of like cotton, lycra, spandex, tulle. They have a lot of tulle. I don't normally get my tulle from there, but they do have some patterns that I may be purchasing from there. So if you do a lot of stuff where you're using a lot of more stretchy fabric for like bathing suits or dance outfits, cheerleading outfits, that's a great place to get it from, and they're reasonably priced, because I think I got this for like $7 a yard. Anyway, right now this is on the wrong side. So this is just going to be a tube. Like I said, this is going to be like the tube top. I'm going to add some straps, and I'm going to be using the same thing. Now, I know you may be thinking right now, oh, it's going to be so plain, but it's not, because I'm going to be adding extra pieces. So what I like to do is, I do have a chart that has, you know, the average measurements on them, but because she's so small, I like to do my own measurements. So the straps I want to be 8, because I want this to be a little bit firm on her. And I was going to cut my 8-inch straps at 5 inches wide, just because I want to give these a little bit of gathering at the bottom. So you can do this by hand, or you can go ahead and use the sewing machine. And what's that going to do is just going to give you a little bit of a cute design for the straps. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and sew the tube part of the dress, and I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, which you will see on your sewing machine. So I'm just going to do a straight stitch down, and always remember to back stitch to secure the seam. We're just going to continue with a 1/4 inch down. Now remember to put your sewing machine back at its regular settings, so you're not gathering the seam for the tube. So just continue with a straight stitch. Always remember to secure your stitch. So once you get the first stitch down, do a back stitch so that your thread won't come loose. Once you get to the bottom, you're going to do the same thing and back stitch to secure it. And now you have the tube part of your dress. So at this point, it's still on the wrong side of the fabric, and what you're going to do is just basically turn this over. And as you can hear, it's Saturday because the kids are acting crazy in the background. So now you have the top part of your dress, and I think this is just a little bit big for her, but we're going to see. I always think everything I make is too big until she gets it on, and then I realize it's the right size. So we have our secure seam, and it's still very stretchy. So even if you do make it a little big, it's a Halloween costume. She can grow into it. She can have it for a very long time. So don't worry about the wrinkles right now, because you can always iron those out. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and do our strap. So I gathered my strap pretty good at the bottom, just because I want it to be I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Just because I want it to look like this when it goes over her shoulder. So how do you do that, you may be asking? You can just gather it with your hand all together. If you're pretty good at holding stuff, once you go through the sewing machine, you could do it that way. You're just kind of doing like little mini pleats or gathers, and this is kind of what it's going to look like when you put it through the sewing machine. So what I'm going to do, because my hands tend to slip, I'm going to take a straight pin and just set it through here as best I can, and just go ahead and do a straight stitch in the sewing machine, and then that way we will get that desired look that we're going for the shoulder strap. And this is really easy. And I know you may be saying, well, it's folding over. My fabric is folding over. Well, if you work with cotton lycra, you know that it has the tendency to do that. So what you can do, if it's very annoying to you, you can just fold this over and just do a little straight stitch. That way it won't keep coming up. So once you're done, you have your stitches in, you will have the same look that I'm going for. And you don't have to do your straps like that. That's just how we're doing this for this particular project. And like I said, we're just going to take this through the sewing machine and do a straight stitch all the way across until we have it together. So now what we're going to do is attach the bottom to the bodice. And what I've done here, I have our bodice on the right side. As you can see, this is on the right side. So what I've done is I've pulled our tulle on the wrong side over the bottom of the bodice, as you can see, and I've pinned it. So when you look down inside of your tulle, you'll see that your bodice is still on the right side, but your pinning is on the wrong side. So when you flip this over to have your top part on the right side, you won't see the seam. So that's the purpose of us doing that. So I'm going to go ahead, and what you want to do, a little bit of a tip, because when you're using stretch fabric and you're pinning something to stretch fabric and you're doing your straight stitch, it's going to be tight. So if you have a child who has a bit of a pudgy stomach, like most children do at this age, my daughter's 5, and I don't think if she did dance that she wouldn't have a little pudge, but it's cute. I love it. What I like to do is stretch my cotton just a little bit so that when she's putting it on, it won't be super tight around her stomach. So I'm going to do a straight stitch, and then we'll go back and start attaching the rest of the dress. Okay, so now as you can see, we have the tulle attached to our top part. So now what we're going to do is attach our shoulder straps, which is pretty easy. You're just going to adjust and see where you want them to set. And you're going to put the stitch part on the inside. You're not going to have it on the outside unless that's how you want it, and that's fine. For me, actually I am going to put it on the outside. And I'm going to decorate it so you don't actually see the stitch. So you're just going to pin it. And if you're unsure of where to put the straps, then maybe get the child and adjust it accordingly. So now we have the straps on. And at this point, if you're done, you're done. If you want to add some extra to it, like I'm gonna do, then you can continue watching. I'm going to actually make a belt out of ribbon, and it's not going to be attached. I'm going to make sure it's removable just in case she doesn't want to wear it all the time. And what I've done is I've secured the ends with the lighter, and basically what you're going to do is just take it, and you're not going to put it directly on it but close to it so that the ribbon doesn't fray. And I have Velcro pieces here that are missing now. Oh, okay. So I have little Velcro pieces that I've cut from a long strip, and I'm going to take this, and this is how I'm going to attach the belt. And I'm just going to put it on the wrong side like this, and then one will be on the right side. So I'm just going to take my hot glue here, put a little bit of it on the back, and if you want to sew yours on, that's fine, but because this is for a Halloween costume, I'm not really going to do a lot of sewing here. So at this point, you are getting so much closer to done. So this is how I attach my Velcro, just so I know everything is even. Sorry. I attach it like that. And I take the hot glue, put it on the back. And then this part will be on the right side of the ribbon. You're just going to attach it like that. So now you have your little belt. And I'm going to add a little rhinestone on mine, so it goes with the whole princess theme of the dress. So I have a button here, and what I'm going to do is cut the back part of the button off so I have a flat part in the back. And be careful when you're doing this not to cut your finger. So we're just gonna put some hot glue on the back of this.
No, they used to make bubbles.
And we're just going to attach it to the front of our ribbon. And I'm just using a satin ribbon here. You can use fabric if you want, but we got to give our princess some jewels. So that will be the part of her belt. So what we're going to do now, I just attached the back of the ribbon. I mean, I attached the ribbon just to show you. I have it pinned right here. But I'm going to add extra tulle that I had to the top. And what this is going to do is it's going to tie in the back. So I'm just going to leave that part loose. But I'm going to sew across here and sew at the sides so it's attached. And I left a little loose here just so when she puts it on it won't be extremely tight. So that's what we're going to add there. And then when I'm done with this will still be hanging, and she could either leave it on the sides or tie it around in the back, and then she'll have her belt. And we're going to add just a few little rhinestones on here to give it a little bit more glow, because after all, this is a princess dress. Okay, so that was pretty easy and pretty simple. And I'm just wanting to show you what I did here. So for the front, I just kind of gathered it a little bit and so did a straight stitch down, and I kind of double stitched back, and then I did the same thing on the sides. So now what it looks like when the child puts it on, it'll be like this. And then you have your cute little straps here and your belt. And like I said, with the sides that are hanging, you could either leave them hanging or you can tie them in the back, and it'll look like this, and she'll have a long trail in the back. But or you can turn it around and kind of crisscross it and sew it if you want, but I don't want to sew that part. I want her to decide what she wants to do. And at this point, if you're done, you have a pretty little dress that you're not spending a ton of money on and that you made yourself. Like I said, I'm going to add some rhinestones and some cute little extra things on here, so it looks like a really cute princess dress. But like I said, I used 1.5 yards of tulle, and this piece came from the part I cut from the bottom, and it's about, I want to say, here we go, here's our measuring tape so I can give you exact measurements for this.
For my necklace.
It's actually 10.5 inches wide, so you can do a lot with that. So I found a really cute button that I put on the front of the dress, and then I just added some little rhinestones, and then we have the belt. So at this point you are all set with your little princess dress for this Sew Saturday. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. Any comments, please go ahead and make your comments. I would love to see the things that you make that I show you, so go ahead and post those on Instagram or Facebook or my Twitter page and tag me in them so that I can see them. If you have any questions, or if it's something that you would like to see me make, go ahead and ask me. And if I don't get to it right away, know that I will get to it, and I'll let you know if it's something I can do, if it's something I can't do, but it's not very much that I can't do. So with that being said, if you like my videos, go ahead and press that like button. Again, I will put in the description where I got my cotton lycra from, and that was Fabric World USA, and they do have an online store. Like I said, they're located in New York, so if you live in New York, you could go ahead and stop by there and get your lycra cotton fabric. I got this, my tulle, from Joann's. This was actually on sale when I purchased it. So if there is nothing else, I will see you next Sew Saturday.